In the long shadow of the Cold War, few organizations stirred as much suspicion and controversy in the United States as the Communist Party USA, CPUSA. From its founding in the aftermath of the Russian Revolution to its persecution during the McCarthy era, the CPUSA played a pivotal, though often marginalized, role in American political life. During the Cold War, the party was not just viewed as a political faction but as a potential internal threat, a lightning rod for anti-communist fears in a nation locked in ideological combat with the Soviet Union. Origins. Revolution comes to America, 1919. The CPUSA was officially founded in 1919, in the wake of the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia and the global spread of socialist movements. It emerged from a split within the American socialist movement, with the most radical elements embracing Lenin's vision of a vanguard party dedicated to revolutionary change. The early years of the party were marked by underground activity and frequent government crackdowns, particularly during the First Red Scare, 1919 to 1920, when U.S. authorities feared a communist uprising on American soil. The party aligned closely with the Communist International, Comintern, and received ideological and financial support from the Soviet Union. The party in the 1930s, from isolation to influence. The Great Depression proved to be a turning point for the CPUSA. Amidst mass unemployment, poverty and worker unrest, the party gained new relevance. It organized labor strikes, opposed racial segregation, and built alliances with liberal and left-leaning organizations under the umbrella of the Popular Front. During this time, the CPUSA attracted notable intellectuals, artists and activists, including Langston Hughes, Richard Wright, Paul Robeson, and Dalton Trumbo. The party advocated for civil rights, labor rights, and anti-fascist resistance, gaining sympathy from many progressives, even if they did not officially join. However, the party's unwavering loyalty to the Soviet Union, including support for controversial Soviet policies like the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, led to disillusionment among many members and sympathizers. World War II and the Red-to-Red Alliance. When Nazi Germany invaded the Soviet Union in 1941, the CPUSA shifted overnight from opposing the war to supporting it, reflecting the broader Soviet strategy. During World War II, the CPUSA supported the U.S. war effort and even moderated its revolutionary rhetoric, encouraging labor peace and production. This period saw a temporary thaw in anti-communist sentiment, as the U.S. and USSR were wartime allies. CPUSA members served in the military and supported anti-fascist activities. However, this brief honeymoon would end abruptly after 1945. The Cold War begins, fear and repression. With the start of the Cold War, the CPUSA found itself under intense scrutiny. As relations between the U.S. and the Soviet Union deteriorated, American anti-communism surged. The CPUSA was now seen by many not just as a radical fringe group, but as a fifth column, a potential domestic tool of Soviet subversion. This led to the Second Red Scare and the rise of McCarthyism. CPUSA members and suspected sympathizers were blacklisted in Hollywood and academia, subpoenaed by the House Un-American Activities Committee, WWII, arrested and imprisoned under the Smith Act, which criminalized advocating the overthrow of the U.S. government. In the most infamous case, Julius and Ethel Rosenberg, who had passed ties to the CPUSA, were convicted of spying for the Soviet Union and executed in 1953. Membership in the party plummeted, from a peak of around 80,000 in the 1940s to fewer than 5,000 by the late 1950s. The CPUSA was driven underground, isolated, and deeply infiltrated by the FBI. Survival and decline. 1960s, 1980s. Despite its weakened state, the CPUSA continued to exist during the Cold War. It supported civil rights movements, opposed the Vietnam War, and aligned with various leftist causes, but often found itself overshadowed by the New Left and more dynamic movements like the Black Panthers and Students for a Democratic Society, SDS. The CPUSA's continued defense of Soviet policies, including the suppression of the Hungarian Uprising 1956 and the Prague Spring 1968, further alienated it from the broader American left. Younger radicals viewed the party as too rigid, too tied to Moscow, and out of touch with the evolving political landscape. During the Reagan era, anti-communism surged once more, but by then the CPUSA had largely faded into political obscurity. End of the Cold War and aftermath. With the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, the CPUSA lost its ideological and financial anchor. The Cold War was over, and the party's primary reference point had disappeared. It continued to exist as a small political group, but its influence remained minimal. Today the CPUSA still exists as a minor political organization. It has distanced itself from its Stalinist past and advocates for democratic socialism and labor rights. While its relevance is limited, its history offers a unique window into how the Cold War shaped domestic politics, civil liberties, and the boundaries of dissent in the United States. The Communist Party USA was never a mass political force capable of seizing power, but its presence, and the reaction it provoked, had an outsized impact on American society. From its activism during the Depression to its persecution in the McCarthy era, the CPUSA story is one of ideological conviction, cultural conflict, and Cold War paranoia. In the end, the party's greatest legacy may not be in what it achieved, but in how it reflected America's deepest fears and contradictions during the Cold War, between security and freedom, democracy and repression, capitalism and its critics. Ask ChatGPT.